Ready? Okay, the time being 6:32, we're called to meeting Tuesday, July 11th, 2017. Call to order. The first thing is review of the May 23rd minutes. Someone had an opportunity to review this. Motion to accept the minutes. May 23rd.
Second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayor Shepherd abstained, sorry.
Shepherd?
I wasn't here.
Okay, thank you.
Minutes of June 13th.
I haven't. Doesn't show here, let me see where I confused myself. Okay. So it's the same basic sentence and all of them? Yeah, except for, I'll check the tape. You recused yourself from the beginning, obviously, okay.
Move to accept the minutes, June 13th, and amended. Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Consideration of site plan 17-04.
What's that?
1704 is going to be.
Yeah, a request was received from the applicant's attorney asking to continue the case to the next meeting, next possible meeting, in our case meeting August 8th. And also a statement waiving the 65-day bar. I guess it's up to the board to decide whether they want to grant that continuation, possibly make a motion to continue to August 8th.
Excuse me, are the microphones on up here, please?
I thought I had enough money. No, that's fine.
So we have regulations that say it's supposed to be 65 days.
Yes,
Yeah.
But we can,
they're asking, they're
Yeah.
saying yes,
Can I
it's
make
okay.
two motions?
Absolutely.
All right, I'll make a motion to continue case number 17-04 until 8/8/17.
Second.
So that to waive the,
I'm going to. I'm going to make two motions.
It's actually, they're the ones who are waiving it.
so we don't have to vote on that, just on
We have
the
confirmation that they
continuation.
waived it, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Eric seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? So be
Can-
it. Oops, I'm sorry.
Can we make this the only meeting in the evening for that day? I mean, the only applicant for that day? The only case?
I do have something in the works. I can't recall at the moment what it is. Oh, there's a conditional use permit application already in for that date.
Oh, that shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, right.
But don't you think we should try to limit that night to,
Yes.
unless we send out for pizza?
May I just ask, would the board, if cases are coming in, if I get a case tomorrow, say, the actual meeting after that would not be until the second Tuesday in September, which is, potentially, I do believe that's a little bit long. So,
We don't do the fourth Tuesday in August.
we don't do that in August. July and August, we could, but I guess I'm saying maybe the board should consider, if many cases come in, possibly scheduling in August.
So is everybody okay with that? Yeah. We concur.
Okay.
We'll do
all right.
that.
So just the two
Just on this day.
All right, next up, Planning Board 17-10, proposal from NCM Management to expand the existing manufacturing facility by 38,400 square feet at 95 Business Park Drive in the Industrial District. Does everybody have a copy of their? Well, we have to review the application anyway, so you have some moments. That's awesome, if you could,
I have
yes.
some small handouts.
Thank you.
lines of proposed lots.
Just got a request today.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, there's those. It's probably not gonna change.
And they do have septic up there, sewer up there, right?
Yeah, it runs, they have it, it runs
Not any.
Proposed landscaping.
probably about
It
80%.
said it up there.
Stops before
Would there be loading
the last
spaces and parking spaces?
wheel
They're
is
gonna
at
have to do something
132.
to add.
I believe they have
They would
it.
have to have parking spaces.
Alright, so we're gonna have to add that.
Unless
Real
what they
experts sitting over there.
They,
Oh, that's true.
I think they probably already have it, so they were going to put the police department, isn't it?
So there should be this landscaping and operation of existing features.
Most people point out things. Spoiled tonight. Thank you.
Oh, that's easy to read. Thank you.
Existing buildings, so here's the addition. This is existing.
Same as what we already have in the file.
It is, it's just.
Existing land.
Does anyone have any questions on the application itself?
I just have a couple.
That's okay. Ask away.
I guess it's on page 3. Under existing data and information required, it says, existing landscape is not applicable, although we're doubling the size of the building. There you are.
Yes, right. I'm sorry, what was the-
So on our list of existing data and information required, the existing landscape, you didn't think was important as far as you're putting doubling the size of that and certainly impacting whatever landscape is existing?
There is no existing landscaping that area, it's just grass.
It's just scrub and,
Yep, it's just a lawn area.
Okay.
Before we prepared the site plans, we had a preliminary meeting with staff, and we asked if we should be preparing a landscape plan, it's kind of agreement.
Okay.
In this particular case, it makes sense, given the location.
so I assume there's no easements on the property, no
Uh,
power line?
None in this area, there's an existing PSNH easement through here.
Okay.
The top corner of the property.
So there is an easement on the property?
Yes, on the north.
Okay. And there's no proposed new landscaping, is that correct?
Yes. The addition is not visible from the street, it's tucked in the back.
Oh, I know
This is
exactly
the end of
where,
Business
I know
Park
where
Drive.
Spinnaker is, thank you though. Okay. Okay, now this is my question, thank you.
Motion to accept the application.
Make a motion to accept the application.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Yes.
Okay. Good evening, my name is Chris Rice, I'm with Tilton Planning. With me tonight is Chuck Moretti from NCM Management and Guy Nickerson from Spinnaker Contract Manufacturing. We're here tonight for a proposed building addition to their existing facility. The site's located at 95 Vistas Park Drive. It's approximately 12 acres in size. It's taxed map R20, Block 1-E. It's in the industrial zone. It's currently serviced by municipal sewer and water, gas, and electric. We're proposing to construct a 38,400 square foot addition. This plan shows kind of the existing conditions as it is today with the proposed addition on this plan. As you can see, it was kind of anticipated in the beginning when this access drive was originally constructed that they might expand it in the future. So there's no new pavement as a part of this application. Everything fits within the existing grass area. There's actually a reduction of about 6,400 square feet of paved surfaces as part of the project. It's just new surface and impervious coverage. There's plenty of existing parking on site. There's 134 parking spaces. This entire building requires 98, so we have 40 spaces in excess of parking. We've shown some storage areas on the plan as directed by staff when we first met with them. We have submitted plans to the sewer department. We included a copy of our sewer approval with our application package. We also included the fire department approval letter. I had submitted plans to the police department and DPW, but we haven't received any comments or feedback, so I can follow up, but I don't anticipate that there will be any comments. The only outstanding item is really a water sign-off. We have met with the water company and we supplied plans to them and review fee from Stantec. They have asked us to provide fire suppression calculations, which we're currently working on. As far as we know, that's the only outstanding item, so we are requesting that tonight, if possible, if we can get a conditional approval, conditional upon getting the sign-off from the water department and Stantec prior to the building permit. And then as a relative to drainage, everything from this section of the site, this lower southern portion, goes to the existing detention basin located here on the site. I've submitted a stormwater report to staff that shows that in every storm event about 50, I've decreased the peak rate of runoff by about 20 to 30% getting to that detention basin. So there is no increase in the peak rate of runoff. In fact, we've decreased it significantly. Just a photometric plan that's included in the plan set, which was submitted to staff to request a photometric plan. There's no new site pole lighting, there's just wall packs along the road. That pretty much covers it in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions or comments.
Is this warehouse or additional
Yes,
manufacturing?
it's purely warehouse storage space, a small cafeteria for the employees. There are some added bathrooms. There's no new employees anticipated. The bathrooms are really just for convenience because now the building will be about 400 feet long, so to avoid somebody having to walk that far, they're putting some other bathrooms in.
So you said that no new employees, but I assume the business is expanding as far as volume? I'm just
Just
curious.
kind of manufacturing. So we're seeing a lot more order fulfillment for customers. So we're building up materials and kind of stocking them for them and then shipping out. So we're storing more materials there. So we don't see an increase in employees. Basically, it's more storage, warehouse facility.
Is it just Spinnakers or also regular sales or?
It's just Spinnaker.
So there won't be any increased traffic as far as trucks? Okay. Thanks.
Just checking if anyone had anything else.
Anything else?
Do you have a stormwater, so do you have a maintenance plan you presented for the stormwater system? I mean, I noticed you have one catch basin here that's full of dirt, so that's
Yeah.
not doing a lot of good.
Yeah, my site preparation plan calls for that to be cleaned out.
This one is could
All
not open to
catch
be cleaned
basins.
out. And I see you're putting snouts in.
Yes, I am, to add some additional stormwater treatment.
Yeah. But do you have a maintenance plan for after, I did see the one during construction
Yes.
in here. How about afterwards, to make sure the catch basins are checked, they're not full of dirt?
I will be happy to add maintenance information to the site plan that I get to the director's signature.
Okay.
However you'd like to handle it, I can set a memo, but usually it's found more often on the plans than the site.
I'd like to see it as a separate document, specifically who's going to be responsible for that maintenance. And if I'm looking at this, so existing is this area to the, what is that, to the west?
Yep.
Oh, it is almost directly west of the
Right.
building.
Yes.
And you're adding two more?
Yes, yes, the two small.
The two in the front, one on the left,
Two,
one on the
which are
right?
just detaining the roof runoff, and that's how I'm getting a reduction of 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
Because,
So is one roof still going to the one to the west?
yes,
Existing
the existing
building.
building's being left alone.
It's still going to the one to the west,
Correct.
and the two new ones are for the new structure?
Correct.
Okay. Looks like you're removing that 12, is it 12-inch line I saw coming out of the old building?
The existing 12-inch drainage line?
Yeah.
Yes,
Is that-
and
I
that
see
doesn't
that's-
handle the roof runoff, right now there's
Those are catch
just take
basins.
some of the existing, there's
Yeah.
a low spot here from the loading dock.
Didn't I, yeah, there it is, to be removed, okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Looks like there's an existing door in that 12-inch high density pipe.
It ties into this
Hopefully
catch, there's a
it
catch basin right here.
Looks like it extends up to here. See what I'm looking at?
Oh, yeah, that's the edge of pavement line, yeah, the drain line is, that catch basin here ties into that drain main and then goes down.
Okay, so this is,
That's the edge of pavement, it's the
I
two
see.
lines kind of run on.
oh, I see what happened. I see the dashed line now underneath the straight line.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. How does the parking lot drain? Sheet
Yes, well, there's a closed drainage system
under it?
in this existing parking area, so there are catch basins in here, and then those are all piped to the existing detention basin. We're not doing any work in that area.
And where do they go?
They have, everything ties into this
The
existing
one to the
detention-
west?
Yeah, everything here is piped, there's a pipe network that comes down here and then comes in, there's the hustle right there for
Mhm.
everything to the north.
Did anybody check those catch basins?
I have not, no. We will certainly locate those are for reference plans. I can add a note to my site preparation plan that the other existing, those existing basins should be checked and cleaned if necessary.
It should be part of the maintenance plan where you're adding, essentially doubling the size of that building. This should be checked to make sure that it's functioning properly.
Yeah, I'll do-
Especially
I'll do
where
my
you found
maintenance
this
plan
one full
properly.
of dirt. And are you at So it wasn't clear to me, are you adding snouts to the existing catch basins in the parking lot?
I hadn't, it was only in everything south, basically from that line south.
Because these are existing, correct?
Correct.
So you're putting them in these existing?
Yes.
Well, wouldn't it make sense to put them in the parking lot if we're going to be concerned about picking up those waste oils?
I could have Matt, I don't think there's many basins, I think it's 4 or 5 basins, so I'll just welcome them to be added.
Thank you.
We're just gonna have both catch basins and stuff.
Just gotta find which lens focuses right, there we are. There isn't anything to the east, I don't think there's any buildings to the east of yours, is there? It's all woods. So your lighting isn't gonna impact, looks like this here, 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 and here.
Correct. And these lines represent the different levels of photometrics going out, so it kind of dies out by that point.
Mhm.
It's really more security lighting and
But it's downcast.
I have a detail of the wall.
Are there any wetlands on the perimeter? I see you have snow storage
Yes, there are no wetlands
down here,
anywhere.
anything,
Within our property line from the existing building back, there are no wetlands.
what about outside? I mean, these are pretty close, this one especially, that's why I'm asking, it's so
Yeah, I
close.
didn't have, that. It does drop off, the slopes are dropping off, I
Yep.
don't anticipate that there's a wetland behind the slope, but I did have my wetlands scientist check the whole back of the property.
Okay.
This is more of a personal question, but do you ever open up your facility for retail sales? You must sell to the area boatyards, though? Your spinnakers?
Oh, no, so, we manufacture electromechanical assembly.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That was the name of the
That's
company.
Ah, that's what I was wondering, okay.
That's my other passion.
Darn.
But I was gonna say, if you ever wanna expand.
Okay, well, that's clears that up. Thank you.
Sea light is out there. Maybe
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
she was thinking of sea
That's what I
light.
was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Got like a sailboat, I think, yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept site plan review for case number 17-10 with the following conditions. The sign-offs for Tilton Northfield Aqueduct Company involving Stantec, and to add a maintenance plan to include all existing catch basins
That's now still the existing catch basins and the maintenance plan for the entire system, not just the new. Are you reconnecting to sewer?
We have a new line going into the existing line, so there's an existing manhole right here, and the addition is just going into that. When we met with Joanna, that was what she suggested.
Oh, so you've already met
I've already
with,
been there. and
Yeah, it's
done that.
attached, the plan, I thought it was attached.
The letter is attached.
Yeah.
from Joanne. Okay. I'll find out on the third
Harry, did you
Tuesday.
have something?
I just thought, I know it's obvious, but just confirm that there's no public comment,
This don't work.
right? Okay, thanks.
Second? Okay, all those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? So be it.
So this wasn't on the,
It wasn't an email.
Which one do you want to address next, Ari? The Meadow Drive?
Yes, Meadow Drive, and then we can do the other one.
Okay. Thank you, enjoy.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good to see you guys. I haven't seen you for a long time. Nice thing.
So this is just a conceptual, we don't have a plan on it.
Oh, actually. Oh,
Accident.
267.
Thank you.
These are both 2 separate?
Thank you very much.
Regarding, if you look at this parcel on the tax map, it has Meadow Drive, which was never built, but was subdivided quite a few years ago, and we were looking to try to bring that back to life, and we were told that the town subdivision approval had expired on the tax map. So what I bring forward to you tonight is what we would like to do, and basically just want to go through the process. What we have for you is all of the wetlands in front of the parcel have been field located. The one in the back is not been field located, it's just from a sketch that I got from a local scientist. So at this point, I'm pretty sure we can get 3 lots based on your requirements, but obviously the rest of the field work needs to be done and the boundary verified. What we'd like to do is subdivide the lot into 3 lots. It's on a state road. I double checked the history of the state road with DOT regulations, and I'm only allowed 2 more curb cut setbacks. So what I'm showing you is one common drive to lots 2 and 3, and a single drive to lot 1. And hopefully the design would work out that we're still under the 3,000 square feet of wetland impact, so we'll still be an impact for the wetlands. It is a 24-foot wide road, graduated because they would be industrial lots. As you can see, lot 1 has an upland of 2 acres, but the total lot area is 2.5 acres, so it is correct out of wetlands as far as the lot size. Same with lot 2, it's upland of 2 acres, the total lot area of 2.2 acres, and lot 3 is upland of 2 acres, for a total of 2.1 acres. I'm assuming that the upland's gonna go up a little bit because, like I said, that's a sketch of the wetlands, and generally sketches are more conservative than what reality is. So this is subdivision we want to do, but in the meantime, what my client kind of floor would like to do is be able to store some of his manufactured houses from his Camelot home this year. So we're really here tonight to talk to you about, the process of going forward and thoughts about it.
You said these are gonna be industrial lots, not house lots.
Correct. It'll be on-site sewer lines.
Septic and water.
On-site septic.
Well, the sewer doesn't run up that far.
Right.
And
on-site
in the industrial, you require 2 acres without sewer. So lot 3, this hasn't been mapped. This wetlands up here, which also affects lot 2, right now with the lower wetland that has been mapped, they're at 2 acres of usable property. So, once this is mapped, you may not have that on lot 3, and you may not have that on lot 2.
Well,
The
what
2
I-
acres.
Well, what I did was, when I did the calculations, I considered the sketched area of the wetlands up top as wetlands.
But you haven't measured it,
Right.
so it's a
But
guess.
When I compared the sketch that I'd gotten from the wetland scientist with the front wetlands that were actually being surveyed, there was less actual wetlands.
But you said this wasn't field survey.
Right, it has to be verified.
So you're
Absolutely.
guessing, okay.
That's why I'm here for conceptual, asking for any.
Yep.
So are these driveways there yet or not?
Well, I don't know, the actual driveways that you see there are not there yet. We did have a problem with the neighbor putting a driveway in there.
So would you be using that if you're storing this? How would you get the Camelot homes on them?
Well, you can build an existing driveway, except like, those driveways and access point.
When you say storing the Camelot homes,
Yes.
you wouldn't have people coming in to look at them?
No.
Storage only?
Is the 20-foot wetland buffer in that configuration of how much is wetlands and how much is not?
No, because it says wetlands, not the wetland district.
I read earlier that it is part of the, not buildable area.
I know the note in the table of dimensional values is specific to wetlands. I would, based on that note, I would agree with what Ms. McCord is saying.
I read this in our zoning,
Okay.
or the subdivision, I don't know, I read a lot of it today, so I'm not sure where, but this is just a conceptual possibility that it is included.
also, on section 14.7, zoning ordinance, is under the wetlands. No part of a wetland may be considered as part of the minimum size requirement of every lot. I would also feel that, my feeling is that meshes what Mrs. Court just said.
Can you tell me where this is in relationship to Business Park Drive? I can't really tell.
It's just before the Vista Drive area, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Vista Drive's on the right, and then there's another road there, but then just before that on the other side.
Got the tax map to kind of show you.
I agree.
That's the Meadow Drive, all those lots there.
Yep.
The business park is down here, and Birch, that showed up on another one too. And then you have Orchard and Vista up here.
Park and Nerd. So where are you?
We're this cluster right
Oh.
here that is not non-approvable subdivision now. It was an expired subdivision, so that's where I come out. This lot right here does have a house on it, and that was subdivided out.
This is the one that they're redoing.
They were last year, I haven't
Yeah,
been up there
okay.
this year.
That's what this plot over there is.
Yes.
So this is basically a storage. To be subdivided, possibly.
Right, we're trying to master plan it, it's up, and now it's just in storage, or if we're gonna use it as storage, we have to wait to subdivide it.
Before we subdivide, we get this mapped out by wetland side. The wetlands.
Yeah, we couldn't approve of anything about that.
You can get that first.
Oh, absolutely, we've done DOT, and then we're a lot more work that we can do, we're just trying to get guidance on direction before we start off, so we start off very good.
Yes.
We're gonna get that system.
I'll tell you.
Can I just
Yes.
share some comments and thoughts? Okay. One thought is that any construction of those driveways, I believe, according to my reading of our wetlands ordinance, require a conditional use permit. I'm basing that on, so it's Article 14.6. 14.61 lists following uses may be granted a conditional use permit by the planning board. The second one is the construction, repair, and maintenance of streets, roads, and other access ways, including driveways, footpaths, bridges, and utility right-of-way easements, including power lines, pipelines. Basically, I won't keep reading. That it says conditional use permit is required for those things. So that would be my take. thing. Sorry, there was one other thing that's not coming to mind at the moment.
Would they have to go to the Conservation Commission because of the wetlands?
Pardon?
Would they have to go to the Conservation Commission because of the wetlands?
Well, once they actually come in and subdivide or a site plan for the lot, they'd have to go there first. Probably should go there first.
And as we discussed with the last conditional use permit, I think, what was the exact wording?
14.6.
Prior to making a decision on a conditional use permit, the planning board shall afford the Conservation Commission an opportunity to provide comment and shall consider any such comments provided.
We'd have to go to the Conservation Commission anyways, for the state law, it's here, so,
What is the well protection rating for DES as far as septic?
Oh, 75 feet, I think.
minimum 75 feet, yes.
Yeah.
With, 2-acre buildable, most likely not in an industrial zone, you're not gonna get a heavy water user on there.
Doesn't have to be a heavy, you're gonna have to have an individual well because we don't have district water up there. And you're gonna have to locate a septic system somewhere on that
Does that
well.
in the note?
It's gonna have to be away from the wetlands, so you're gonna wanna make sure that the well and the septic fit on these lots, because they're small.
They're oversized for DES. And we'll have to take test bits and show 4,000 square foot receiving area for single DES, while this is effective low ratings.
Mhm.
Oh, I remember.
Yes.
Ms. McCord and I had a discussion about the table of dimensional values, and I just want to make sure, for her benefit, that I share what we talked about. Under minimum frontage, under the industrial district, it says 0 feet. But at the top of that column, there's something that says see note 3. And note 3, I believe, and I've asked other folks and they agreed, note 3 refers specifically to those 3 entries in mixed use, medium residential, and general commercial, where there's 100/200. And that the note only applies to those. So if anyone disagrees with that,
That's not what it says.
What?
It doesn't say that.
Well,
It
so are you
says-
saying that according to this, in the RA district, you need 100 feet of frontage with municipal sewer and 200 feet of frontage without municipal sewer?
That's what it says.
But that's clearly not true.
Oh, we've got, I can show you one I found today that's interesting too.
Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, but that's what it says. It doesn't say except. It says
But
lot
it's-
3.
Okay,
So that would be,
so
who would decide that? The zoning board or the planning board?
I think, well, I mean, you and I go through this all the time. The building inspector is named as the enforcer of the zoning ordinance.
But that's not the interpreter.
Okay, I don't want to get into an argument with you on that. So, I think the next body would be the planning. So, that's basically why I'm bringing it up now. I think it's important that this report leaves here with some sort of sense on whether everyone agrees with me on that.
Because what does the 0 feet under the industrial
Right.
mean?
Right, exactly. And downtown, 0.
You have 3 in there that say 0 feet.
Right.
So clearly, note 3 was designed for those 3, wouldn't they have been?
No,
No?
no. I
Well,
think note,
MU says 100/200 feet.
right, that's what note 3, I believe, was written to clarify the 3 entries that say 100/200. They're saying, what we mean by that is, go to note 3 and you'll see what we meant when we wrote 100/200. We meant 100 feet of frontage with sewer, 200 feet of frontage without sewer. It would be, I think it's, not ideally written, but I think that's the reasonable interpretation. If not, it would make no sense to have different numbers in those different on those different lines. It would, in fact, the whole thing should just say, see note 3.
Well, then that would be true of all of them that say C note.
Right, but then if you take the RA, you're at 250 feet, so it's 100 feet.
But
With
we'll,
municipal 200 feet, but yet we're saying here it's 250, so it seems to me that
Well,
note
like-
3 seems to just clarify 100/200.
Absolutely.
I mean,
maybe. I'd have to read more.
or RC is 150, VR is 100.
I mean, we've been off, since I've been here, and as far as I can tell, looking, as I look through old records, this town has been operating with the requirement that, people have 250 feet of frontage in the RA district. In the RC district, 150 feet was recently, 150 feet is what we've been requiring. So the practice has been to apply note 3 only to those 3 entries. And to me, that's the logic of practice, correct? Clearly, this could go on our list of things we want to address. Forward.
Every time I read through this,
Best practice.
Think about it.
thank you, that's good. That's good. That's good.
So can I ask a question? I'm new, so the driveways, you can actually put the driveways through the wetlands? Do they have some kind of, does the state have some kind of guidance on that, or they have a requirement or a size, or?
Basically, the size is more,
You're gonna be filling in the wetlands.
right, correct. And that's allowed under state law. And
There's a process that they have to go through permitting.
Go through, and one of the biggest processes is you can't deny somebody access to the property. And there's wetlands all along the edge of this road because of the ditch that was dug along the road itself. And then it does spread out this way.
But you
The
could,
guiding mantra of the Wetlands Bureau is least impacting alternative. That's why we looked at, and also in your regulations, it says for a common drive, you can only have 2 lots for a common drive. So we took advantage of that to minimize the impact and have one drive for the other one. Also, that I have state DOT regulations that I have to, and I can only get 2 driveways, I'm only afforded 2 driveways out of this, as long as I bring the site distance, which again, I still have to work through. But it's a pretty straight shot, it's right there, so what it should be on, site distances on the driveways. But just gets them across the wetlands, and then there shouldn't be any more wetland impact block development, which is also part of the,
What's the driveway across from the common driveway?
whatever is that too.
Across the street.
With that little manufacturing building up there, American Eagle or whatever it's called.
Nobody's in
Just
there.
past Business Park Drive, there's a little,
They're a commercial plow company. They do commercial plows for like airports in Canada and the United States.
Also, that's where we put one driveway directly across from that one, so that's your best traffic. Otherwise, your traffic complex. And also, if you look at where I put the single driveway, I use the island of upland to cross it to minimize that impact also.
I have a question for the board, or just, maybe it's more Dari or something. Is there a way that they can get a variance or something to allow them access to that third lot without penetrating the wetlands and going across and adding that, or is that not allowed?
Are you saying to actually use one driveway to access all 3 properties?
Yes.
Yeah, Ms. McCourt and I looked at that a little bit. All I found was a statement in subdivision saying that no more than 2 driveways, or no more than 2 lots can be accessed by a driveway. So in my estimation, that could be done, it wouldn't require a trip to the ZBA, it would simply be a waiver from the planning board.
I'm just looking at ways to minimize wetland.
Yeah, that is a possibility.
Wetlands. Okay, I'm gonna shut up talking today. This is a nice tea, or lemonade, see?
My big concern on that, and having done this for 30 years, is when you have common driveways, especially more than 2, you get into people having conflicts that you're supposed to be maintaining it, even if it is written up specifically. And a lot of towns don't like you to have more than 2, because the first thing that happens when there's a problem, they go to the town. Don't land up your desk, they'll land up something's desk. It's just, that's probably why it's in their regulations, too.
Somebody's touching or pointing at each other? Pointing at each other? That's usually causes it.
direction of something like that.
So I think you should do, one of the questions was, is can you use the property for the storage of trailers before you subdivide? Or do you have to subdivide? Is that one of the questions?
Right, that was part two of us.
The question was, is that can we subdivide it and then use the entire lot for storage of trailers?
There's one owner of all three lots, correct?
I mean, there's nothing saying you can't.
Right.
So in the,
Nothing
prohibits it in site plan,
Yeah, that's enough for trailer storage.
but you're not conducting a business on it, you're just
They're
storing
not having any
trailers
of the
on it.
public on the property.
What's gonna prevent it?
You have to know they were there.
Down the road.
I don't think you can hide them.
We said that from the road, so.
Yes, you won't be seeing
It's
it
not gonna be right on
or
there.
visible.
We said that.
That's an interesting question. If your lands are property stored up in London.
I don't know, like, look at several units of, for condominiums there.
That's the cost of the culture.
Downstairs.
They're not in business, right?
The only way to see it down
I don't think they can notice the property.
It's just storing
So
lots.
the issue is, can they start storing stuff before they come? It's a site plan, is that what it is?
No, because they would have to say driveway.
But if it's not being, if the business is not being conducted on the property, it's not being used for commercial use. It's just being used for commercial storage. Storage of product is being sold someplace else.
Well, that's
Still
commercial.
commercial storage.
It's commercial,
I
So it's a site plan?
it's a change of use of the land. It's not, it's,
Well, right now it's just.
It's land. as soon as you put something on it, you're changing the use of it to, whether you're storing them there.
So would they have to, they'd have to site plan each parcel?
Well, could they do it as one and as part of that? Because, for instance,
6 acres is a lot of land to store
no,
trailers.
for instance, the gas station up here that was proposed at one time, that was on 2 separate lots, and it's part of the conditions, they had to merge the lots. But we site planned that as 2 separate parcels because they had to merge the lots, I'm pretty sure.
Is that urban in the former Exxon?
No,
A new one across from Chili's? Across from Lowe's.
Across the walls there, that's 2 pieces of land that we site planned for a gas station, but one of the conditions was they had to merge the lots.
No, it's an old approval.
That's because one lot, they only have one entry, right?
No, but the way they designed it, it was on both pieces of.
I don't know how relevant that is. The main reason Al and I actually sort of pushed for that merger requirement was that there were going to be all kinds of setback violations if they didn't merge. You know, the new plan, has 3 lots at that same site and they're not merged. It's actually turning the 2 into 3 lots. If I could just add some more thoughts. On our change of use review form that we've been using, the cover page talks about projects not subject to any site plan review. And of course, first it says proposals that involve no change in use, obviously. Then the second it says proposals that involve a change of use but do not involve change in traffic flow, increase in traffic generation, increase in parking demand, changes to drainage, an increase in demand and changes in water, sewer, other utilities, changes in fuel storage, changes in hazardous material storage, changes to the outside layout of the site. So perhaps some of the, if none of those are kicked in, you know, this document says that's not subject to site plan review. If they are kicked in, some of them, there's still some, that's kind of where the plan, it goes to the planning board to decide whether site plan review will be required.
It's definitely a change in drainage.
What'd you say, drainage? Yeah.
All the wetlands and drainage.
Homes are we talking about?
Well, I'm doing all the storage right now on my current location, so it's just getting kind of jammed in there. So 10, 20 boxes, say they're 15 by 15.
And so you will have boxes on both sides, houses, homes, on both sides.
Yeah,
Still,
well, I use
you're gonna
this
use that one and then the rest.
one for storage and I need one.
This one will have
Will you have displays on your lot now?
Yes,
Plus storage?
plus my storage.
On this one, you're simply going to store boxes
Yes,
that are not assembled.
yes.
So it's not, you're not gonna be conducting any visits whatsoever on this property.
Yeah, but even that's, it's not like I do 2 or 3, I mean, it's 2 or 3 boxes a week.
Considering the impact on the drainage to access any of those proposed lots or the one lot, I would say it should be site plan.
And yes, drainage and tractor trailers and driveway.
Driveway access.
DOT.
Yeah. Something more of, you know, I just want to know how much, just, that's all you're gonna pave.
That was just to show it on the lot where I was trying to look them up because of the, it's hard to see. The shape was, so you can see where the garden is going. But, you know, it's just conceptual, it's just to show you how it's getting across the line.
It is industrial use, so.
You think there was something to store trailers? Would you be putting down gravel, would you be paving, would you be?
Site plan, just site plan.
No, I'm just curious if that was there anything you should change to it?
We could subdivide it and then have the same plan. So that's the
The only, I think, thing that would wind up being added for maybe a complication after the subdivision would be that now you have more setbacks you have to deal with. Probably not a big deal, but you know, to me, I don't see any other reason why you couldn't subdivide and begin use of why you have to wait to subdivide.
Well, I'd be interested to see what this wetlands up here does to the lot size. And you may all of a sudden decide, oh, we're only doing 2 lots now because it's the sketch. It's been a wet spring. If this was sketched in 2016, that was a dry year. This year's a wet year. Things change.
The plants have to be considered as well. The soil.
has to get somewhere soon.
Made it smaller now.
Is my brain making that up for me? I don't read that.
What do you mean, per square foot?
So the calculations for how much wetland is by square foot,
Okay.
not by acre.
Oh,
I love that. Okay,
Never
next.
read that, so.
that's fine. I mean, we, yeah.
No, that's where I read the other where.
Oh,
included,
okay,
you know.
okay, all right.
So it's like.
We have a change of use review.
Should we talk about the dimensional value thing with the C note 3? I think that should be resolved. It's kind of embarrassing sometimes when we use that. But before I forget, this is something we can change without town meeting. This is just clerical, Barry. In the subdivision, on page 14,
14.
now it's kind of tight, but L, M, N, and O. L and N are the exact same paragraph, and M and O are the exact same paragraph.
Wait, what section are you in, sir?
I'm in subdivision, section 4.8, maybe? It's on page 14.
Section
Final plat requirement.
L, M, N, O.
Okay, and second.
It looks the same, yeah. So, okay. Is that what you were talking about, or are you talking about the table of dimensions?
Oh, no, I just wanted to remember to tell you that, because that's
Okay.
just, we can fix that easy. It's
Yeah,
kind of-
yeah,
it's,
right.
you know. But no, I thought we should talk about note 3. Kind of come up with a,
Someone hit paste twice.
I know, huh?
Copy, these paste.
Probably never notice it, because when we're reading it through, we're just like thinking that we just fell asleep or something.
I read it twice.
Yeah.
No, wait, you put a comment here.
One extra period.
When I bought the first one, I put a line, and then I went, oh, I put another line. Looks like I'm drawing designs on the page. So looking at this, in the chart of dimensional values, the whole thing about note 3 and 100 foot of frontage in municipal sewer, 200 feet of frontage without municipal sewer. So taking the argument that it's talking about 100/200 would kind of make sense, because if you look at those that are 0, what is that? Downtown, is it regional commercial? What's RG?
Yeah, regional commercial, yeah.
Regional commercial and industrial, those would, the frontage requirement would be 0 if you look at those areas and what's done now.
Yeah.
So if you add that to what Dari and Herb said, for me, then that would make sense, that note 3 is only talking about those 3.
And really, if there were simply an asterisk before C note 3 and then an asterisk after each of the 100/200s, that would clarify that, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Future
When
ref-
you leave those double paragraphs, you can add some asterisks.
Yeah. Right. Do you want me to go talk about that?
This one's better.
Yeah. All right. So, the change of use review form, as soon as I sent that out, several of you educated me that, why are we doing this, Dari? This is a fitness center that's changing, that's not changing, it's becoming another fitness center. And I said, oh, okay. I think what happened was there was like work going on either side of Polly's, and I had asked someone, I said, oh, someone came in for a fitness center. I said, oh yeah, I saw them doing work over there. I said, is that the same place as the karate place? And he said, no, it's the other side of Polly's. So I said, all right, well, we're going to change the use review form, and then, again, so my mistake. I called the the person who submitted, the lady who submitted the form, until I don't think you need to come. It sounds like you're not changing uses. You're doing what the board, what's been done there all along. I said, could you just answer a couple questions for me that I can relay to the board? And I said, how many people are you going to have and what are your hours of operation? She said classes of no more than 12 people, and that they would basically, classes would be early in the morning, 5:30 to 8:30 a.m., and then evening, 4:30 to 7 p.m., and that she would be doing personal trainer work, just basically scheduled one-on-one sessions with folks. So I said I'd relay that and then, get back to her tomorrow with whatever the board said. But based on what I'm hearing, this is really in line with what was being done there.
My only question was the 5:30 in the morning, because there's apartments upstairs.
Apartments next door, they don't have restriction. That does-
I believe that was Life Fitness or whatever it was there before they started.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
I'm
because
pretty
the
sure it started.
to fall back on it, it's too much noise.
That's so funny.
I do, I get up at 5 o'clock. No, it's like, oh, let's go.
I think so, it's just gonna make it to the shower.
I've always done that. No, I have to understand.
What sign ordinances are we looking at currently downtown?
Whatever's published in this that came out this year. I don't know.
What sign ordinances are we currently using downtown?
Oh, so I did speak with her about signage. I think I heard.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And she writes that I think a 3x4 sign, which would be allowed, and then she mentioned a banner, and I said that's something you're going to have to clear with the code enforcement officer. It sounded like she wanted to do the banner temporarily, so I believe that that can be allowed through the temporary signage regulation. But I made it clear that she was going to have to get sign permits from Al for any sign she wants to do.
If I drive down the street of Tilton at night, I would never know we had any signage, any ordinances whatsoever. There are flashing lights in half the storefronts on Main Street.
Thank you.
Well,
And it
saying
looks
that, Jane.
tacky as all get out. It
Second.
really bothers me because we do have an ordinance that says that they're not supposed to be there.
Right, let's just work on that.
Well, that's cool.
You know? Exactly, well,
So Al and I just to give you, Al and I became aware today of a store that had flashing lights, and we actually walked down there together and told them to shut them off. So if you find any others, we'll follow that same path.
But I didn't think they were supposed to have any kind of lights, flashing or not.
No, you can have lights. You can have illuminated signs. They can't be
Neon
flashing.
signs that say open.
it says, animated signs, I believe, I looked it up. It doesn't say flashing or not flashing, it says animated, which is not clear what exactly that means, but, I guess it means anything that moves, so I would include flashing in that.
There's some signs in town that
But that smoke shop is not
no,
grandfathered,
it's
so.
not. Walgreens
And Polly's,
has it unusual.
yes,
Yes,
it
it
is.
Fields, yeah.
The animated moving
There's one in North.
is only for the downtown district.
Yes. That's where the culprits are.
Somebody mentioned
That are,
Walgreens.
you
I
know,
can half
we're
hear you
concerned
guys.
with.
That's where the culprits are, downtown.
Okay, I just heard someone say Walgreens.
I was just saying Walgreens has this exceptionally unusual. It can move, but it can only move at what, 10 intervals or some
Oh.
crazy thing?
Well, I thought all those
per
through there were
some-
supposed to do that.
Only
Some
somebody
ruling
told me
or-
that.
Yeah,
Because the
Wal-
ZBA was doing
Walgreens.
1 minute interval, or putting
Yeah.
a 1 minute interval.
So it can't
requirement.
flash, so the message can go up, and has to sit there for a certain amount of time, and then it can change.
I thought all those in exit 20 were like that, were supposed to be like that.
Walgreens is the only one I'm aware of that was. It's like AutoServe had an automated sign before we changed the ordinance to saying an automated sign.
Well, I
They
have-
did get a new one in, but they already had an automated, somebody else did too.
I have two other questions.
Go.
One of them is that we just told the last party who came in that he couldn't store anything on his lot, because that was a change of use. We have another place in town where it was across from Lowe's, which was a vacant lot. There was nothing on it, had not been anything on it for years, and now it's suddenly a car lot with paving and gravel and little roadways and a lot of activity on it all the time. So, is that not change of use?
Yes, Dory.
I believe it is. I believe that is clearly an expansion of a business, and if that were to, in order for that to become a permanent allowed use, it would need site plan review.
But shouldn't that, this particular property has been argued about since they started doing it. Because remember, they also put cars at the Agway property, and they had a big sign on the end of it that said Tilton Autoserve. And Tilton Autoserve didn't actually own that property, one of their other companies did. So, before they were able to store cars there, should they have site plan?
I think they should have.
I think so.
My
That's
opinion.
and that's, theoretically, it's storage of extra,
No, they're
Product.
selling
but
out of this.
they're not supposed to be selling out.
Well, I'm saying
That's
too.
how it was told to me.
Well, but
They're not supposed to be actively conducting business on the property. As I was told, it was only supposed to be surplus product
Why do
that
they
they
have
will
walkways?
sell. I'm just saying, that's what was told to me.
I think that even, in my opinion, even if they're only storing vehicles there, that should get site plan review.
I think so.
I would say the reason that my office has been, let's say the land use, code enforcement, whatever, has not gone forward with, an absolute get the heck out of here, was the belief that it's going to soon become a gas station. Now, that's dragged on very long, I admit, and if I had known way back when that still today there would not be a gas station there, we would have required them to come in for site plan review. And the way they got lucky, they every few months it looks like for some reason they're going away, and then there's a change of plans. Now, if they were selling cars there, I think it would become even more urgent, and they would absolutely, we wouldn't be as willing to sort of accept that, okay, things are going to change in the future. I mean, look at what Spinnaker just came in for. Well, of course, that involved a building and a structure, so there were other physical elements involved. But essentially, they just came in for storage.
But on their existing property.
Yeah.
On their existing industrial, commercially used property. These two are different. This fellow wanted to store those trailers up on 132. Right.
But so is what I just brought up.
And I think you're right. Auto sales should have site planned before they were allowed to store their product that they're selling off-site.
And along with that, same area of Main Street, all of a sudden, an artist who lives in Franklin, now lives there and is selling art, statuary, if you want to call it that, not only out of his house, but it's being displayed all along the street. Now, is that not change of use also?
Like the one on my car park?
across from Chili's.
Oh, the one with all the metal things?
He's selling?
That's what I was told today.
So that's what, a home business?
So, yeah, that requires
it's an
site plan
upholstery
review,
place.
definitely. I didn't know that,
I was told that today. I don't know that for sure.
yeah.
But I was told that when I said something about, I hate those, they're so ugly. I was so, well, it's,
Oh, I heard
it's Tom.
somebody said that to me.
He's
But-
selling those.
But we don't know that those that aren't on his property, we don't know if somebody else purchased them or
Well,
owns them and is
If they
displaying them
did,
on the property.
well, let me put it this way. One of the ones that is now in his front yard was on that piece of property for months.
Doesn't AutoServe own that white
Orange
house
hair?
they rented?
They do.
They own the house. AutoServe
Yeah.
owns the house. in
Yes, they own it, but they rent it, so basically,
I don't know which house we're talking about. Bonifaz?
They're across
No.
from, beside
Well,
Bonifaz.
Russ-
Little
That's
white
the
one.
post office.
Oh,
Goes down.
Or the guy at Rusty's used to live there.
no, not that one.
Is it on that upholstery sign up?
Yeah.
there's Rusty in the lots, there's upholstery.
No, no, that's
And then there's
Bonifaz.
more
white
stuff.
one.
The white one, didn't the white one come in and say,
I
oh,
don't
that
think
was,
he does it, one next to it. I'm talking.
Oh, the one next.
Well, on your way home, Catherine, on your way home, look there.
oh, look, that's
All
where he's living?
all along there, it looks
There's
like
like 5 or 6 there.
a monster.
It's a lot of getting nightmares. It's messy.
One of them looks like a guy is falling off the chair or something.
Yeah, and there's
I don't know
one
if it's
hanging down in the
locked or
tree
what.
in front of Rusty's old house.
Yeah,
There's
that
a-
one's been.
there's a-
Is that tires?
Cicada or something hanging there. I don't know what it is.
So do we need to notify him to cease and desist until he site plans?
No, I don't know if he's selling them or if somebody
Investigate.
offered him,
Yeah, okay.
how that business.
Have the code enforcement officer take the trip out. Well, I mean, it now looks like it's turned into Tin Alley.
You don't like his art.
I don't like the conglomeration of it all in one place. It's inappropriate.
It is.
That's not art, that's a cluster.
It's pretty, it's out there.
I love the horse one.
I didn't say it.
It's dark in here.
So as long as
I'll
you
look it up.
like
It's
it.
a little better.
What?
You know, it's like,
Because the guy in front of him was like fog something.
No, it's Toad Hall. No, it's the same gentleman.
It's the same name. Because it's
Um,
empty.
Odd question for you, back to the fitness lady.
Oh, yeah.
He was.
Let's circle back there.
That's a good idea.
She has the sidewalk stand for informational purposes. What is our ordinance on sidewalk signs? Because we go back and forth. One day, somebody's putting tables out there, then they get told no.
The
because
selectmen have an ordinance
handicap, thank you.
about what's on the sidewalks.
So is that permitted, not permitted? What does this ordinance
Now, I can
say?
tell you what I told her, to start with. I told her at first I said, I don't think that's allowed, and then I said, oh, wait a minute, we changed our signage ordinance, I think we might have pulled that out. I'm not sure, and then I kind of just threw it back to Al. I said, check with Al, he'll tell you. So, I still haven't had a chance to research it yet, but,
Catherine just said the selectmen have
Okay,
an ordinance on
okay.
the, so do you know where it is off the top of your head, Catherine?
It's gonna be on,
Oh.
it should be on the front of the website, although I might have it over there in the ordinance. but
actually,
it's
I just found it, 2.3.2, no sign shall be erected or placed within the traffic median or right-of-way or public sidewalk.
Okay. So you've got it there too.
So you've got to enforce that further down too for the others that are doing it.
Yeah, ours was because they would have sidewalk sales.
And the
And you'd send people
wheelchairs
out into
couldn't
the
get by.
street, yeah.
with all that.
Because, you know, you had the trees, and these trees usually parked to somebody in a wheelchair.
So, makes sense. Any other business anybody has? Yes, Eric.
I have a question.
Yes.
We held a hearing, it's a more of a question of legality, that we accepted public comment. And since that, we received 2 letters that were public opinion, public comment. Are those illegal?
What, I'm sorry, there was a motorcycle going by. Did you say we had our
We had a hearing.
public hearing?
We had a public hearing where we took public comment. And since then, we've received 2 letters
Outside of,
outside of that public comment period. Is that a legality issue? I'm only asking this because I have a feeling, I think we all know that this might end up in court. And I'm just asking, is it legal that was sent to us?
We take public comment at each meeting. I mean, we didn't have a meeting just to take public comment. That was the public comment portion of that meeting.
Are you asking, should the letters be like?
It's not like the selectmen will have a hearing just for public comment.
Accepted.
Let us
That's-
come by the minutes.
If we read them into
No.
it.
Unless
If we
you want
read them
to.
into it.
We could enter them somehow. You know, there are different bodies that I've worked with in the past where, you know, I include all kinds of stuff in the minutes, you know, like presentations that were made and things like that. So I don't see, I think
I
there's
I was just curious if it was, we held a public comment period.
Yeah, I did, I had similar concerns about, you know, similar with, and I ran it by Attorney Radigan, and I posed it as, you know, could a planning board hold a public hearing at the first time it deliberated the case, and then every time it continues it and holds a meeting, say, you know, sorry, we're not taking public comment, the public hearing's over and done with. And he said, well, if you guys were like, you know, you had a meeting and you took a bunch of information in, you took public comment, and it was, you know, 9:30, everyone was exhausted, and it was time to bring it back to the board for the board's deliberation. You said, no, you know, we're done, everyone needs to go home and get to bed, we're going to convene next time so that the board can deliberate. I think that would be fine to not reopen the public hearing at that. But anytime, basically the gist of what I got from it was, anytime new information is presented, you should offer another public comment opportunity. And so we know that new information is coming forth on this one. Yeah. So really, there's no problem in accepting letters. But I think it's a good question because such a thing, you know, it could happen that really the board is not intending to open it back up to public comment. And then at that point, if letters come in, I guess,
Well, I was under the
maybe I
impression that
shouldn't
was
be
what
circulating
we
those
did. We
letters.
took the public hearing, the public comments, and then we adjourned the meeting to deliberate at the next meeting.
Yeah.
So
No, we kept continuing it because of the lack of information. It's like I read off a whole litany of things that were absent from the site plan. So now they're gonna
I was just
come
more
back
curious.
No,
with
it's
lots of new information.
should we read those at the planning board meeting?
You can read them into the
It
minutes.
is correspondence.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just.
But I think Eric's point is good. If it does become a court case,
We don't have to read the whole thing either. I'm pretty sure you
you
can
know,
just say we received these
where do
letters
those
and
fall?
paraphrase it.
Can somebody say, well, you didn't address these issues that I brought up, or this was never discussed?
We don't address the public comment.
Well, we usually ask questions or
We
whatever.
are supposed to.
I mean, we listen to them, but we don't always.
Well, sometimes we do though.
You are supposed to listen to, because this is really a hearing, is what you're having. You're supposed to listen to the public input and decide whether or not it has any bearing on how you decide the case.
So I guess if you're doing that with letters, if you're doing
Maybe just add it at the next.
Sometimes the letters come in and they all say the same thing. So if you've got 4 letters, they're basically saying the same thing. I can't take my kids to pick blueberries. Would you read all 4 letters, or would you read one and just say, well, we have 4 letters and they're very similar, but I'm going to read this one into the record?
Yes, I think that's all you're required to do is say you received it. Yeah, not required, but suggested, because I've seen this with.
But publicly letting them know the letters came in lets people know that they're public documents and they're not available, that they exist. So somebody could 91A and say, I want to see a copy of
But
those
you don't
letters.
have to read it.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jane. I think that, right, if we were to go at the next meeting to say, just to review the letters that have come in and just simply identify the people who sent them, Because what Catherine is saying, you know, the purpose of a hearing is for the planning board members to receive that information. And by doing that, we confirm that the planning board members have received the information. I don't think, yeah, there's not.
It's just an
That's right,
acknowledgement.
yeah. That's
It's just an
right.
acknowledgement.
Yeah.
All right, that's a plan. Let's do it.
Do we have any correspondence this evening?
No.
Any new business? Anybody else have any code enforcement questions for the night?
When are we gonna meet to, I mean, we really need to read through, like, either take site plan and read through it and correct it, the definitions, and read through subdivision and correct it, especially with definitions. Because I can tell you the definition in subdivision, that's what it's gonna tell you about, still says 650 square feet. The definition in zoning did away with the 650 square foot requirement. So there's a conflict. There are two different definitions of what we're
Catherine, can you like draw up?
You guys have
Yeah,
that?
there's
List.
Do we have, do we have some people that are willing to meet as a subcommittee? So we're not, like, the subcommittee can meet, go over it, and bring the ideas and the findings to the full board for review. So that people that can participate in that can, and those that just don't have the time constraints don't. And then you could do it for, okay, we're gonna do this one at this subcommittee meeting, like zoning, or signage, or, and just tackle one at a time. So is anyone willing to do that now and then?
I'm
Each
willing now
section.
and then.
I don't have time.
I'll go through it, you know, I think the definition's probably
Yeah.
the first thing to go through.
And I think
So
in
you
the
can take the
future-
definitions of all three.
And I think in the future, we should do it sooner rather than later.
Yes.
In other words, we probably should do it even before it's presented. We should find out where there's gonna be a conflict.
I think we've been, the challenge has been just the caseload, and so.
Right.
We
you
know that, but
So,
I'm just thinking
I,
future.
I think, if we could do, subcommittees do have to take minutes, they're subject to all right to know, so that creates, you know, somewhat of an administrative burden. But, you know, I think our planning board minutes are very detailed, we could get away with a lot less detailed minutes for the subcommittee meeting.
But do we
And
really-
if folks could have it during the workday, that would be awesome.
We'll get on that. Well, I'll ask for vacation time.
Well, I don't know, maybe there's
Here's
some
the
Thursday
problem.
afternoon, I don't know.
Why does it have to be a subcommittee? So why can't Eric read the definitions, I'll read the definitions,
Don't make it something.
we come up with, you know, I'll come up with, okay, this is what I think, this is when you get two different thoughts, and then we'll send them to you, and you can disseminate them to the board, and we'll come together after everybody's read them,
Yeah, that's fine.
and then come together as a
Perfect.
group and make a decision.
Maybe you guys should start, show us how it's done.
So you want to start with definitions?
I think definitions is the one that's really been
And then
tripping
what's
them
the
up.
date, what's the date we want to have definitions into Dari
September
by?
1st.
When?
I just threw out a date, September 1st.
Well, it's December 1st.
September 1st.
Yeah.
If this definitions or whatever, it was just from 5:30 to 6 to
We don't all have to be here, but
That's the.
Yeah, those who wanna
I
come
can't do
early
five.
before
I can do
meetings.
If they get sent
Yeah.
out
I
to
need
us
6.
individually, so once we discover what we discover, like I just told you, the dwelling one really needs to say the same thing all the way through, and that's really the goal. As to, you know, we can get them to Dari, and then he can send them out, and then everybody can look at them. So when we do come together,
Yeah.
we've done our homework.
Right, okay.
yes.
And then it's just, you've already formulated, okay, yeah, I can see that this should be fixed.
All right, I think you have a handle on it. so-
Jesus, this is gonna force me to use Google, isn't it?
What?
Yeah. It is.
Sorry, do it.
So,
Google. I hate Google, they discriminate.
I do, actually.
I want to get a lesson from Tim.
So the August 8th meeting is going to be robust. So I
Well, we might have an extra meeting.
was going to say, so if we're going to do the 17th meeting, then anybody that's interested in working on the definitions, come early.
17th.
You know what?
22nd, I think.
22nd.
Steve Rinder is
Well, if there's no caseload, why don't you just make it workshops and
Down school, look at AC.
never have time?
It's still a meeting,
Yeah.
no matter what you label it.
So make it.
So either you say we don't have an applicant, you know,
So just schedule it.
6:30, we don't have any applicants until 7:30.
So is this just meshing up the different definitions, but we can't change any wording?
We can in site plan and subdivision. Zoning has to go to town meeting. So you can have it all set up. When we're doing this, you have that in your mind, so you're set up those site plan definitions that have to be corrected to go on, I mean zoning, to go with site plan and subdivision, you know that's gotta go to town meeting. But in the meantime, you can change it in site plan and subdivision. What is that? Did you call it 2 hearings?
It's just one. Yeah, I think it's
Notice
just
or
one, but it's like
something?
30-day notice,
Yeah.
which is winds up being a bit of a pain.
I may, Catherine, send you something on definitions for because
Should I turn the lights on, or are we all?
No, I think we're, I like it.
I'll
make a motion to
praying for
adjourn.
Eric
Second.
to say the word.
There's a
I
motion on
just
the table.
did it.
I haven't been able to
I
finish
know you've
one.
been trying.
Jane cut you off.
I just did it, and she just seconded it.
All those in favor? All those
Second.
opposed? It was already seconded. It was approved.
Eric was driving.
This is a yay and nay.
I just know, it was in that.
I thought it was in favor.
If it's a yay, if it's a nay, you stay right there.